Okay, a quick recap on some of the shapes that we have looked at. So first of all was a triangle. So the area of a triangle, if you remember, the formula we used was base times height, and then you divide that answer by 2. Or we said another way of writing this is a half times base times height. And the important thing about this is that the base, kind of this length on the bottom, the height is the distance straight up. So remember, they are perpendicular, which means they're at right angles to each other. The base and the height are at right angles to each other. One's on the bottom, one's directly above. So that one was a triangle. Right, next shape we're going to look at is a parallelogram. So this is a shape that has 2 sets of parallel lines, and the angles aren't right angles. So it's a bit like a rectangle that's been pushed sideways. And if it's a rectangle pushed sideways, it's got the same formula for area as a rectangle. And the area is simply the base times the height. Be really careful when you're doing the height though. So the base is this distance, but the height of this one will be the height straight up. That would be at right angles, and that's your height. Don't get confused if they give you this slanted side here, the length of that side. That isn't relevant. We just need the base and then the height that's at right angles, and we multiply those two together. Right, last shape then that we want to look at is a little bit on a trapezium. So if we look at a trapezium, if you remember how we make a trapezium is a shape that has one pair of parallel sides. So if I draw one set of parallel lines, and then I'll join up the 2 edges like that. That's my trapezium. And the formula, if we've got a trapezium, the formula for the area is a half A plus B H. So remember, this A plus B, the A and B are the parallel lengths. Doesn't matter what order they go in, because you're just going to add them together. So that's A and B. And then H here is the height, and that will be again at right angles. That one is H with a height. And all we need to do then is put some numbers into this formula. So if, for example, we had a trapezium, let's say I had this trapezium that had these 2 sides are parallel. I'll tell you the top length is 5 centimetres, bottom length is 11 centimetres, and this height from here to here is 4 centimetres. So if we were asked to work out the area of this shape, remember, to work out the area, we're going to do a half, open brackets, A plus B. So A and B are the 2 parallel sides. That's 11 plus 5. And then H at the end. Remember in algebra that means times. So times by H, the height, which is 4. And then BODMAS means you're going to have to do the brackets first. So we can do this in our head. You can take your calculator out and type it in, but you can do it in your head. 11 add 5 is 16. So this is the same as a half times 16 times 4. So again, at this point you could type it into your calculator, but we don't need to. We can do it without. A half times 16, so a half of 16, if I do this bit first, a half of 16 is 8. And then I've still got my times by 4, and 8 times 4 is 32 centimetres squared.